Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. I got a few DC updates for you for today. The first one is going to be about a little bit about video games. I haven't really quite covered it, and I do intend to do that today. I also got some updates on part of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, including David Ayer's Suicide Squad, and of course, the biggest story today is an update on Ray Fisher versus Warner Brothers and a new Justice League fellow member coming out into support of him. But before I get into that, I would like to thank my newest member of the Ping Pong Flix Show. Thank you so much to John Stokes for joining as a member of the Ping Pong Flix Show, including all my other members here. Thank you so much for continuing on, and I hope you've enjoyed the exclusive access videos in the exclusive access folder so far. But once again, I couldn't have done this without you. Thank you guys so much for your support and the support of all you 14,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. Now, on to the news. The first thing that I'm going to cover today, Gotham Knights will feel like a living, breathing ecosystem. This is actually coming from Screen Rant, which they took from the PlayStation blog on this game that was shown at DC Fandom. And it was an incredible 1 or 2 player co-op video game that you could either play Robin, you could either play Nightwing, Batgirl, or even Red Hood. And according to the PlayStation blog, with the clips that you saw at DC Fandom, it's going to be a living, breathing world. So instead of empty streets this time around, we'll actually be chock full of citizens, and it will actually change the environment depending on the story. What that means is, like in the actual demo where Mr. Freeze kind of took over the city, the actual city will look exactly like if Mr. Freeze actually took over it. So they will have those little nuggets that truly make it a much more satisfying and engaging experience for people who want to actually be part of the Gotham world that has never quite been done to this extent before. So hopefully Warner Brothers Games at Montreal would able to satisfy our Gotham experience this way. This game, Gotham Knights, comes out in 2021 on all major platforms. Speaking about video games, apparently there was a canceled video game that was supposed to come out. Not much details on what this game actually is, but according to Gerard S. Marantz, he's a concept artist, creature designer, costume concept artist, writer, and director, but recently you actually worked on a film that we all know and love, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Put this out on Instagram. Awesome designs for a canceled DC game. Now, if you check out his Instagram page right here, you can actively see what he's talking about. There is a crazy looking concept art for Bizarro. I got a chance to work as one of my favorite DC villains, Bizarro, for a canceled video game. I've always wanted to do a pass on this guy. And it, like I said, it doesn't quite clearly tell you what game this is, but it looks absolutely amazing. Now, this is something that's been going around for a while, and people thought this was Thomas Wayne, that it was supposed to be Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but no, this is actually some views of his Batman design for that canceled video game. And also a fun turntable of his King Shark for this canceled video game. I have no idea what video game this is, but it looks absolutely gorgeous. It looks absolutely amazing. I would love to have seen what this game was, whether it's supposed to be from Arkham or what, but I'm thinking it was a Justice League game. And it could very well be that some of these concepts make it into maybe the Rocksteady Suicide Squad killed the Justice League game. Of course, King Shark does not look like that, but it's okay. We're finally going to get something of this type of level, hopefully in an actual video game by Rocksteady. So I'm looking forward to it. Not saying that this is, but I'm hoping that we'll get to that level of what these concept arts have recently shown. Now on to DC movie news. The first one up is all about James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. James Gunn apparently wrote the Suicide Squad Bloodsport for Idris Elba. And this is actually coming from Screen Rant, which they took an actual tweet for Idris Elba. James Gunn sent to him on his birthday. James Gunn said this: "I rarely wrote roles for actors I've never met, but I did exactly that for Idris Elba and in the Suicide Squad, and it couldn't be happier I did. You went beyond my expectations as an actor and a human being. I can't wait for folks to see you as Bloodsport. Happy birthday, my friend." So when you're looking at this, and to me, in a way, him writing a character for a certain actor is actually meaning that it's not really more throwaway than actually having an actual importance for that role. And many other directors have done this as well, including like Quentin Tarantino, for instance, that I do feel like Idris Elba's Bloodsport will probably be one of the main characters in this story, and actually gives me much more faith that this guy is probably not going to be the ones that gets killed off right away. I'm essentially thinking this is indeed, and from all the behind the scenes in which he is standing with Rick Flag in the prison, that maybe, possibly, that this is actually team 2 and the team that actually survives for the most part of the movie, being the most primary protagonists of the movie, along with such as Harley Quinn, King Shark, Rick Flag, so on and so forth. So really looking forward to this Bloodsport character. And like I said, I really want to see those Superman scenes. So if James Gunn in any way chance could throw Henry Cavill in the beginning scene to show how Bloodsport actually gets caught by Henry Cavill by just shooting a bullet at his chest or something and getting caught, that would be pretty cool. But you know, if they're going to go that simple route, it may just be a headless shot once again. Speaking about James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, there was another Suicide Squad movie that came out, several years ago, but we never really got to see his true version. And that is David Ayer's Suicide Squad. Now, there were a lot of different things about going back and forth on whether it being PG-13, did the studio make it PG-13, or would he originally make it rated R? As we know, David Ayer movies are mostly rated R. I mean, you've seen an End of Watch, you also see Fury. There's a lot of his films are typically more that route, including the recent one, Tax Collector. Now, it's being revealed now that David Ayer might not have actually shot that as rated R. As David Ayer says, David Ayer's Suicide Squad apparently wasn't never meant to be rated R. This is a tweet that he put out just recently. It was never going to be R, and I cannot give a more inappropriate scene. Core demo for comic book movies is kids, and this is in response to a tweet from below. Ayer was aiming for an R rating apparently, so maybe, let's see, would be lit. That's not the case. David also expanded on that and says, I'm talking about actual commercial reality. It is what it is, not perception or anecdotes. Comic book movies skew young. Largest demographic to hit Squad was under 15 female. So there you have it. For anybody who has just felt that his cut should have been rated R, and not saying that when the cut actually comes out and hoping it comes out, it may need a little bit more boost, a little bit more help getting that across, and maybe even just going over certain people within Warner Brothers, that he could actually get the Ayer cut release. And when it does, who knows? They may give him a little bit more to spruce it up a little bit and make it into a much more rated R type film. Let's see what happens if and when David Ayer will get to release his Ayer cut. Now, moving on, as we're talking about Warner Brothers, it is pretty much a daily thing now where we have to update on the Ray Fisher versus Warner Brothers situation. Today's update is from Ray Fisher himself, as he decides to update a little bit on what's happening. The first thing he did was tweet this out. It really is a shame that WB Pictures willfully chose to publicly undermine the seriousness of the toxicity and abuse that myself and others have reported to Warner Brothers HR, Human Resources, and Labor Relations. They tried to minimize me at being an actor with petty creative differences. They failed. Accountability over entertainment. Now, this is in response, again, to the Warner Brothers statement that came out over on Friday night that Ray Fisher was just being petty over creative differences over Justice League reshoot. On Instagram, Ray Fisher also expanded a little bit more details about Warner Brothers and Warner Media and the people that he is accusing of misconduct behavior.
I know there's some confusion out there about Warner Brothers versus Warner Media with respect to the situation. And what I have to let you know is that those are two separate entities. And one of the big issues that we had very early on when the third-party investigation was approved was that we were being told that it was approved by Warner Media, but then we came to find out that the investigation was being headed by Warner Brothers. And so we were getting a lot of conflicting and convoluted information that could create a potential conflict of interest in making sure that people are held accountable. So, we have Warner Media, which is a new entity that is owned by AT&T. And we have at our disposal individuals who are part of that company who can get third-party investigators who have worked for AT&T and not necessarily Warner Brothers, who are individuals that are completely impartial and have nothing to do with Warner Brothers. So that is my intention, is to ensure that because we have those people and those resources at our disposal, that we actually get someone who has had no previous affiliation with Warner Brothers. Because what we were made aware of from Warner Brothers HR was that this investigator that has been assigned has worked with them on multiple occasions. And so this is what ends up causing a conflict of interest. So what I am just making sure happens is that this doesn't just become a rushed investigation that they get over in a week and they say, okay, well, it was this person and that person. We're sorry. End of discussion. Because it goes much deeper than that.
Ray Fisher also stated that Warner Brothers and Warner Media investigators will essentially be attorneys or lawyers in this matter, and that he will be doing his due diligence to make sure that these are the correct people that he's talking to. And also that he's not going to let this just die out as a simple case. He's actually going to try to go the distance with this, and he want to make sure that he goes through this thing the proper way and make sure this doesn't just, I guess you can say, scoot it under the rug. But that's not all, because today, in a big show of force that I would believe, is that fellow Justice League member Jason Momoa has come out in full support for the Justice League co-star Ray Fisher. This is his tweet right here. Ray Fisher, let's go. #Borg Life, accountability over entertainment. Pride of Gypsies, which is the Jason Momoa's Instagram account, had put this in his Instagram stories. A picture of Ray Fisher in the I Love Zack Snyder t-shirt that he wore at a San Diego Comic-Con with the hashtag I stand with Ray Fisher. Now, the big thing about this is the fact that Jason Momoa is a giant A-lister actor now because he brought AQUAMAN to $1 billion in the box office. He's also starring in multiple movies, including Dune, and is also in the highly popular Zack Snyder's Justice League miniseries that is about to drop on HBO Max in 2021. With all of this, he decided to come out and actually full support with Ray Fisher going against Warner Brothers. What's also interesting about this is that mere months ago, when Ray Fisher publicly denounced John Berg, Jeff Johns, and Joss Whedon discussing film, captured an article, The Source's Deadline, that said this: Jason Momoa has been cast as Frosty the Snowman in a live-action Frosty the Snowman movie. John Berg and Jeff Johns will produce the movie. In a very extremely curious, timely manner, that this dropped right after Ray Fisher's first accusation. in a way to show that Jason Momoa, who probably supports Ray Fisher this whole time, telling him he can't say anything or he will have to withdraw his contracts for certain movies like this Frosty the Snowman movie. But Jason Momoa coming out today in full support of Ray Fisher by putting this on Instagram could mean that he is foregoing all those movie contracts possibly, or risking them at this matter, to come out in support of Ray Fisher to go against Warner Brothers. Now, I don't think, in my opinion, he doesn't have to worry about Aquaman 2, as he essentially is Aquaman, and that movie went off to make $1 billion. So for me, I think he's still safe for Aquaman 2. Now the question becomes, what will Warner Brothers do about this? Will they come out with a full statement tomorrow after this holiday weekend, or will Warner Media actually come out to make a full statement in this matter between Ray Fisher and now also Jason Momoa versus Warner Brothers? Stay tuned as more information comes out in regards to this huge controversy, this Justice League investigation, and hopefully we'll know the truth soon enough. Now, that is it for today. I want to thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for subscribing. Like I said, if you love this daily DC movie news updates, DC games, and DC shows, please click the like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and keep this hot dog light on, and I'll see you next time.